Hello everybody, welcome to the first episode of this Devlog series on my upcoming game, Food Game? I haven't found a title yet. A traditional roguelike based around food. Last video I gave a quick overview of the game, explaining the different systems like the map, the enemies and the weapons. So today we're going to be working on that weapon system by creating a tool that'll be able to make every weapon type I would ever need to make. But before we get started, I wanted to apologize for the wait. I take a bit more time at the end of the video to talk about all that, but for those of you who don't really care, I'd still like to apologize. Okay, so last time I explained the weapon system, saying that every weapon would work in a unique way, but that meant a lot of work on my part. You see, it would have already taken a long time to code the two weapons I presented by hand, let alone the dozens of weapons I wanted to have in this game. So I came up with a pretty simple idea, creating a system that allows me to make every weapon just by changing some variables. Okay, let me explain in more detail. Oh, and for those of you who don't know anything about Unity and programming, don't worry, this devlog series will be made to be understandable by everyone regardless of their coding level. Unity, the software I'm using to make this game, uses a system of objects and properties called game objects and components. Objects are empty and don't have any function until you give them properties. For example, there's a property that allows for an object to be affected by gravity and other objects, one that creates collision for an object, so on and so forth. And every property is defined by variables, values that can be changed. So my goal is to create a singular property that would be able to make any kind of weapon simply based on its variables. If I wanted for the projectile to spin around the player, I could just change the variable that's responsible for that and boom, spinning projectile. If I wanted for the weapon to deal 10 damage, I'd just write 10 in the damage property, bam, 10 damage projectile. It's that simple. Now, I know this may still be a bit abstract, so I wanted to show you 10 weapons I made using this system. They're on the screen right now, but I'm gonna go over some of them. So this projectile is pretty standard, just creates new projectiles on its way, simple and effective. This one looks pretty neat. It spins around the player and creates new projectiles that continue forward on their own. Here I've got some simple triple shots with some randomness to the projectile's rotation. Okay, I really like this one. It feels like it could be used for defensive purposes or to bring enemies closer via knockback, it could be useful if you have a powerful melee attack. This one's pretty cool. It looks like a big droplet that creates smaller droplets when it hits the ground. Kinda like Emolacria from Isaac. Just like Emolacria from Isaac when I think about it. Damn. And finally, of course, this beautiful thing. Lots of projectiles make Bird happy. Okay, and I also wanted to show you how easy it is to create a new projectile. So I've got this idea for a weapon that goes straight and creates some lob shots all around in a circle formation. So we're going to create it right now. Let's meet me from the future. Me from the future? How are you doing? Hello, me from the past. I'm doing great. Anyway, we're going to create that projectile right now. So this is Unity, the editor I'm using. Right here is the game. That's where you need to focus if you want to see how the projectile works. And we're going to start right now. So I'm going to take my template and I'm going to create a variant that I will call my main projectile and another variant right there that I'm going to call my secondary shot. It's going to be the lob shot it creates. I'm going to take both of these and organize them in a folder, and then I'm going to set the main character's shot to the main projectile, so that's what he will shoot. Now we're going to just use this view on the left to add some parameters. Now it's a bit messy, but I understand it. I'll try to clean it up at some point. For now, it's fine. It does the job. First, we're going to lower the range. We're also going to add a bit of randomness to the rotation, so it's not always straightforward, but a bit up, a bit down. And then we're going to move to this section right down there, where we're going to have to set how the projectile is created. So first we indicate that the main projectile creates projectiles. we're going to say that it creates one kind of projectile, and so we're going to have to set all of these to 1. Next, we're going to add the projectile it's going to create, so that's the one it's going to make. It's going to make 10 of these, or create projectiles 10 times during its lifespan. It's going to create 6 each time, and to reflect this, I have to change the size of the grid down there, because that's important for everything to work. And I want for my projectile to go around in a circle, so create 6 with equal angles between each other, so angles of 60 degrees. So here I'm going to set the original rotation of the projectiles to be increments of 60. Now all I've got to do is simply set that secondary projectile to something a bit more manageable, so lower the size and set its trajectory effect type. So that's that describes what effect the trajectory has. So it can be sinusoidal or in a shark tooth pattern. I'm going to set 3. That's what it's used for to make the lob shot. And I'm going to set the height of the lob to around 2. And now that should be enough. We can just check if that's good. And when we shoot the projectile, you can see it does exactly what it needs to do. So it creates a projectile that goes forward and creates 6 other projectiles who go up and then a bit down at 60 degrees interval. And then we can just do the same right there on the other side. It works with every direction, up, down. Everything's cool. And now we've got an entirely new projectile created just like that. So I'll head it back to me from the past, me from the past. I give you the mic. Thanks, me from the future. I really like this guy, and this bit too, even if it's not original. Of course, this system has its flaws, many that it's not as flexible as pure war code would be. But it also has a lot of benefits. It's easier to make weapons, obviously, but what's cool is that since every weapon uses the same script and variables, any item that modifies a certain function, such as the damage or the number of such projectiles created, will affect every weapon that uses this property without having to code thousands of exceptions. Plus, any new feature I need to code in can be used for any other weapon without having to code it dozens of times for each one. Yeah, that system's obviously not finished. There's a lot of features I still need to make, but it's a good start. I don't want for every system I'm making right now to be 100% completed. I'm just coding a foundation that I'll reinforce later on. And so, it seems we've made it to the end of the video. But before you go, there are a couple things I wanted to say. First, let's just address the elephant in the room. Yeah, it's been months since my last video. I'm really sorry for the wait. Right after getting the video out, I got sick for about a week, and especially on the weekend where I was in a really bad shape. That lost me motivation to work and the habit I had built up with the making of the devlog. Then weeks passed and I caught COVID, so that sucked too. Add to that my final exams and all the work I had to do to make sure I got the future studies I wanted. I just didn't have the time nor motivation to work. But now I'm back, and since the summer break, I'll have a lot more time to work, and even after that, I'll make sure to work every day on this game and these devlogs. All this to say, sorry, but I'm back. Also, I wanted to talk to you about a cool thing I could do with these videos. You see, now I have a weapon system, but I don't really have any weapons ideas to go with it. So, I can ask you for them. If you have any idea for cool weapons, write them in the comments. Every devlog I'll be taking a few of them, I'll make them using the tool I made in this video, and I'll feature them at the end of the devlog. What do you say? Oh, and since you stated the end, I can already tell you what the next devlog's gonna be about. We'll be making the randomly generated levels, or the enemies. I've yet to decide, but it's gonna be either one. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you like the visual change. I want to try something new with every devlog for this game. Have a nice day. See you soon.